Okay,
Yes.
started.
Okay, so from the name of Allah, it's my great pleasure to welcome all of you on this session. Mr. Adil Ahmad, Mr. Asad Khwaja, and all our mentors and mentees. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So,
Basically, tonight our session is on professional connections with LinkedIn. So our first guest speaker is Mr. Adil Khan, has 23 years of experience in software development at various large corporations. He is currently a senior director of software engineering at JP Morgan Chase. So Adil Ahmad, it's over to you. So please give me more your short intro and start your presentation.
sure.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Let me get started. Share my screen here. Share. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Okay. So assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's really nice to have so many folks on the call today. Just a quick introduction, and then we'll jump into the topic at hand. I think I have about 15 minutes, and then we have 5 minutes for questions. So I'll go through this relatively fast. As questions come up, please think of them, and you can put them in the chat so we can answer them during that 5-minute period that I have to answer questions. Really quick introduction about myself. I have a bachelor's in computer science from Stony Brook University, which is in New York. I have a master's in information systems from Hofstra University, also in New York. I'm currently based out of New Jersey. I have 24 years of experience in technology, mostly in the kind of the software engineering space. Previous companies I've worked for include Reuters and Morgan Stanley. I've also been a hiring manager for 17 years or so. And I'm also serve as a career development coach for in my current company. So I help a lot of people build their career development plans and coach them through their careers in various levels of promotion and things like this. So what can you expect in the 15 minutes that I have? First, should you as a university student have a LinkedIn profile? That's a question that gets asked quite a bit. Why a LinkedIn presence is important, we will talk about that. Tips on building your profile, and then I'll give you 3 or 4 takeaways and actions that you can kind of follow through on at your own pace. So first question that I get asked, should I have a LinkedIn profile as a university student? So students often say, well, I'm not in the industry yet. I don't quite have a job. I thought LinkedIn is for people who already have jobs and things like this. So should I have a profile? The answer is absolutely yes. You should, in fact, be building it while you're in the university, and we'll talk about why that is. So let me give you first some statistics and kind of will orient you towards why it's important to be on this platform. So LinkedIn itself has over 900 million users across 200 countries. 129,000 schools and 58.4 million companies are registered on the platform. 50 million people use LinkedIn to hunt for jobs on a daily basis. And 97% of HR professionals use LinkedIn in their recruitment efforts. Candidates who have a comprehensive profile, and we'll talk about what that means and what that looks like, have a 71% higher chance of getting a job interview. And there's these other benefits, right? It serves as a virtual business card. Back in the day, probably during your parents' time, people, when they would interact with each other or do networking, they would give each other business cards. By and large, doesn't really happen that much anymore. People generally just go to each other's LinkedIn profiles and connect that way. It's a great place for networking. We'll talk a little bit about that. Job searching, you can search for your next role there. It's also an excellent place to publish your CV and showcase your portfolio. So if there's things that you've done, projects that you've done that are related to your industry that you want to showcase, that's a great place to talk about that. There's recommendations and endorsements you can get from your peers, from if you've done internships or you've worked somewhere, from your colleagues there, and also from your professors, if that's possible. And it showcases key attributes about you, which are your attention to detail, professionalism, passion in this particular field, that serve as a great first impression when someone is looking for you or looking at your profile for the first time. There's this quote you've probably heard, which says you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So think of LinkedIn as that professional first impression. And the better your profile, the more professional your profile, the more complete your profile, the better that first impression will be. Imagine your CV lands in the inbox of a potential employer, a hiring manager. To look you up, they'll read your CV, but very likely they will go to LinkedIn, look you up. And what you want them to see, that's what you should be working on in your particular profile. So I have some links down here, and we'll share this presentation where I got some of these numbers from. So to start, your profile photo is extremely important. Extremely important. Why? Because it's that first impression we're talking about, right? The first impression people have of you is when they see you for the first time. So what does that mean? So on the top picture, we have a bad profile picture and a good profile picture. If you look at the bad profile picture, the person is kind of at a distance. The background is kind of strange. You can barely see their face. Even the clothes that they're wearing don't seem to be particularly professional. You can't even see their facial expression. And that's not a very good profile. The second one, it's a much better. It's a good profile picture because the face is centered. The photo is centered around the person's face. The person has a smiling, positive expression on their face. The background isn't strange or it is not drawing attention away from the person, and the lighting is not bad. So all of those things are important when you're thinking of a professional profile photo. So think of that. Don't do the one on the left. Make yours a professional headshot, which is towards the right. Now, I wanted to share with you an interesting experiment this person did. If you go to that link, you'll learn a little bit more about this. But this particular individual wanted to do an experiment to see what profile picture, what impressions people have of him, depending on the profile picture. So he created four profile pictures. He had people do polls, 40 people each, poll and answer certain questions about him, just the impression they get when they look at that picture. So the first one you'll see is the head is slightly tilted, not really a smiling face, and you'll see they judged his competency, his likability, and his influence based on that one picture, and you'll see the numbers. The next one was similar angle, but he's smiling a little bit, or he's actually smiling quite a bit, right? Different face altogether, and you see those numbers shift. The third one, same person, different camera angle. The shirt is different. The look is different. The look, it doesn't even look that inviting, and you'll see how people judge his competency, likability, and influence. And finally, this was the photo that did the best. But if you look at it, he's staring at the camera. It's a positive look on his face. The lighting is excellent. And all of those led to much higher rating just on one person. So when we talk about a first impression, this is the impression that you want people to have. And this is what people will do when they look at your profile picture. They will judge you based on your competency, your likability, and your influence just by looking at you, going nowhere further beyond your photo, right? That stuff comes later. So think about that first impression that you give. The other thing I wanted to talk about was your headline. In LinkedIn, you'll have a photo. You'll have your photo, you'll have your name, and then you'll have like a headline. So the things I want to kind of advise you on are that your headline needs to be very specific, and it needs to talk about a number of things. One of them is your aspirations and your goals. If you're a student, you can say, I'm a computer science student, I'm an aspiring data analyst, or I'm a marketing intern, I'm passionate about social media strategy. That could be your headline. You want to talk about your key skills that you have. You're a mechanical engineering student and you're proficient in certain technologies and tools. You may want to showcase certain experience, right? You're a civil engineering student and you're an intern. You have an internship at a particular company. That may be something you showcase in your headline. And then finally, you want to use action words like aspiring, pursuing, specializing, because you aren't in your careers yet. Using those words really kind of give that impression that you have a goal in mind and you're aspiring for those goals. If you look at that picture on the right, that person, some people will put like they're looking for a job after they graduated, right? They'll say, I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for employment. That's not very appealing. But look at this, the same person, if they change their title to civil engineering student with a passion for sustainable infrastructure and green building design. Now that gives a very different impression of the individual. Okay, so think about your headline and kind of focus on some of these things as you build that headline. I want to jump to another topic here, which is around networking. So I was doing a little bit of digging around on LinkedIn. And if you just look at NED, for example, NED has, if you look at the NED's page on LinkedIn, they have 105,000 people following their page and 67,000 alumni, meaning you have 67,000 alumni in your network that you have access to. Okay? This is a big number. In addition to that, there's groups on LinkedIn for NED students, which are alumni, association, or in a particular department and things like that. There are 84 such groups. So joining, following the university or joining these groups will give you a head start in kind of helping build that network. You may be interested in content that you see. You may interact with people that you might find interesting, and that may be a kickstart for you to build your network. Now, I'll go through this pretty quickly, but one of the questions I get asked often is like, how do I make my profile stand out? So we'll go through this pretty quickly. And what I have in this table, I have what makes a strong profile, what makes a weak profile, what are the things you should be looking out for. So we talked about some of these things already, right? Your profile needs to be clear, professional looking, right? Don't have a casual, unprofessional picture. Like doesn't match that tone that we have in LinkedIn, which is professionalism. Your headline needs to be clear. We just talked about that. In your summary, talk about your academic background, the projects that you're working on. What are you looking for in your next internship or your job? Stay away from like weak terms like hardworking, right? That doesn't really, or intelligent, like that doesn't really mean anything and doesn't really help you. Stay away from those type of things. In the experience section, now everybody understands that as a student, you're not going to have a whole lot of job experiences, right? So what do? You focus on internships. If you don't have internships, focus on relevant projects or volunteer work or things that you have done, demonstrating what you have learned. A weak profile will just have a list of jobs with no real detail. Skills and endorsements, right? Like list skills that you've learned in school. That's why you're going to school, right? Learn those skills. If there's particular technical skills that you've picked up, list those things. Recommendations. As you interact with your professors and you have mentors and you have colleagues and others, get recommendations for them if it's possible. Activity. Now, a lot of people are post or share articles or post things on LinkedIn. Depending on what you're interested in, you may choose to interact with it, repost it, like it, things like that. You don't necessarily have to be someone who posts a lot, but interacting with those, is going to help you learn, understand what's going on in the industry, and just be more of an active participant. If you're not one of those people who posts or comments a lot, it's not something you necessarily have to do, but it's a good idea to at least be aware of what's going on and engage with some of that content. And finally, another way to make your profile stand out is having a custom URL. Like LinkedIn, you can typically they'll give you like a default URL for your LinkedIn profile. You can customize it. If your name is available, you can do linkedin.com/in/your name. And it's an easy one to just either say out to people, and it looks a little bit more professional than the default ones that they give, but it's not the end of the world if you don't have one. So I'm coming near the end of my presentation. So I just wanted to give you a few takeaways. So number one, after this presentation is over, take a few minutes, review your profile, look to get a professional headshot, the way we described it. I described it earlier. Get a catchy headline going, write a compelling summary and put it into your profile. Use a tool like this LinkedIn profile optimization tool that I have here to look for suggestions on your profile. And I can actually share this with you if I can. This is actually pretty neat. If I go to LinkedIn, actually, let me go from here. So this, if you go to this tool, and it's in the presentation, and we'll share that out to you. If you just search for yourself, right? So for me, this is my LinkedIn profile. I have that the vanity name here. Search for myself. It'll do an analysis of my profile and give me feedback. Say, hey, why don't you do a little bit better with your headline? Right? That's what it's telling me. Why don't you write your summary? Change these things in your summary. Put a little bit more about your experience. So it will give you feedback based on your existing profile that you can action on as well. A few other things real quick. Like I said before, look for alumni groups, industry groups that you may want to join, and connect with your classmates, professors, or professionals that you know, right? If you know professionals in your industry, if you know professionals or you have professors, connect with them, start building that network, and your profile will obviously will stand out a lot more than it does today. So with that, I think I'm at my 15-minute mark. I will stop. We have a few minutes for questions if anybody has.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adil. So now I would like to call other students. So please, if you have any questions, so please ask. So it is appreciated if you on your camera and ask your question confidently. So this is the part of your training also. So please, if you ask any question, yes. Yes, anyone? You can just on your camera and uh, unmute your microphone and you can just ask the question. No, without raise hand, you can ask the question.
We have 50 students on the line with no
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Good. Walaikum assalam. Yes.
So, sir, I have a question that I've heard many times that on LinkedIn, when you are writing a post or something, then you should follow a proper structure, like, starting with the hook, and then like I didn't remember the main structure. I think first you have a hook, and then you have a description about it, and then a PS section, and those posts get a very good reach. So, is this a like true thing, or we can just write down anything we have? Like, is this true or not?
Yeah. So typically and it's a good question. Typically for so there's various reasons you're going to post something, right? One is to get to share information, to increase your profile, things like that. And typically to get content, to get engagement, those are some of the techniques you would use. You would have a very compelling headline in the thing, or that hook that you talked about. You'd have some interesting detail, right? Things like that. I would stay away from things that are quite controversial, but I would bring in new information if there's new research and things like this. But typically, the way you describe that mechanism and that format is a good way to make sure that you have content that people can engage with.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Because I've been following some major LinkedIn content creators, like Lara Costa and Yasmin Yalik. So they are following those type of structures, and honestly, when I just started a little bit about this, like I just changed the structure of my post, and I soon getting like a very good impression, a very good reach, a very good reaction on my post. Those people are reacting, which I really don't know about them.
Yeah.
They are not in Pakistan, and I was like this, in an okay, what's happening?
Yeah.
So
And you know what, the other thing is that you will oftentimes, because of your network, people will share things that, and you'll get reactions and interest from people who are not even in your network, right? So yes,
Yeah.
those are great techniques, and I would urge you to continue like experimenting with it, because
Yeah.
what works, you may be surprised by what works, I'm really
Yeah.
happy to hear that you're actually following other people who are, and looking at their techniques. So that's a really good way to do that.
Thank you.
Yes, Asad, anything you want to ask?
Now, there's nothing that I want to ask. I'm sorry, Asya. I think you were ahead of me, but I'll just speak to this part a bit. One ad that I want to make here with Adil's answer is try using any GPTs. Use Chat GPT, use Copilot or anything when you are writing whatever you want to write on LinkedIn. It will make sure that it follows the structure that you're looking for. So don't be afraid of using those platforms for you. And yeah, go ahead, Asya, whatever your question is. Thanks.
Okay, Asya, now you can ask question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Okay, so my first question is how to identify the fake people and real people. Like many people on LinkedIn approached me on my inbox, and they just started like asking me about my skills and what do I do. But I just like am hesitating of talking to some people because I don't know if they're real or they're fake.
Yes, Adil, it's very good question.
It is a very good question. So as with any other social media platform, you will have bots, you will have people trying to take advantage of people to get information and all of that, right? So typically, so I get a lot of spam as well, right? People will reach out, they say, they'll be like, okay, hey, why don't you join this particular group, or can you provide us this information? I will go to that person's profile. I will look, do they seem legitimate or not? Like, what is their history of their posts, things like this. But you have to be very, very careful, because like with any other platform, people are going to come in and try to take advantage or present job opportunities that aren't really there, for example, right? Or internships that don't really exist, things like this, to get to get people to sign on. I would just be extra careful. Look at that person's profile, look through their history, ask around, and why is this person reaching out to you, right? Oftentimes, my default is I don't really like unsolicited kind of communication where someone is coming to me and said, let me sell you something, right? Rather, if I'm engaging with someone and there's a response coming back, that's the type of person I engage with. I usually don't engage with people who are just kind of dropping in and sending me information.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you so much, sir.
Okay, now Muhammad Shafat. So please ask Muhammad Shafat. Okay, Hafiz Muhammad Hilal. And Asaf Alam. Three persons raise their hands. So yes, Walaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Sir, I want to say that I have a question that how can I find internships on LinkedIn? And my second question is that can I share each and every certificate on my LinkedIn profile which we have completed from any website or any even university during university or any online resources. So can kindly give me these two answers.
Yeah. So to start, yes, you can find internships if you look at LinkedIn's job board, right? You should be able to search, and there may be internships that are available that you can find depending on what the companies are posting. If there are particular companies that you are interested in, I would go to their pages, I would follow them, and I would search there as well. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is build your profile so that when you do reach out to companies or you do apply, that when they come to your profile, they'll be like, okay, this person is actually an interesting candidate and that we may want to engage with. And what was the second question? you remember the second question? Anybody? Sadr Mumtaz, do you remember the
Yes.
second?
Anyone else?
Hello, sir. My question is
Yes, sir, I have.
Yes.
okay. You go on. You go on. हाँ बोले.
Sir, my question was about in LinkedIn ID, many people upload each and everything. Means
Yes,
if they are
yes.
doing some courses,
Yeah.
if there are some courses, and they exaggerate a little thing. They're expressing it like they have done a big achievement. Uh, in actual, it was little. Is it necessary to upload it each and everything, or rather to update their about? Means if my LinkedIn ID, I just uploaded in my about that I have done this and this and this as well.
Yeah,
But I didn't post it
yeah,
out. Is it
yeah.
necessary to post it uh, each and everything?
That's a good, and that I think that was also what the second part of that first question was. So yes, it's a no. It is not a. You don't have to post each and everything. And you talked about a very interesting phenomenon, right? On LinkedIn, you will find people exaggerating things, and you have to be kind of honest and what makes a compelling profile. Don't over exaggerate things. If it was a certificate that you did and you passed, like that's great. Maybe you want to summarize it, but I wouldn't necessarily post every single thing that's irrelevant or something that I did 15 years ago. Like I did a certificate 10 years ago. Like, is that really irrelevant now? Maybe, probably not. But also, I would just make sure that I personally like to be very truthful about what I'm posting. And honestly, recruiters and other people, they see through any exaggerations. Even in CVs, it's the same thing with your CV. Your CV, when there's exaggerations and there's superfluous language, people see that. People generally see that, and it doesn't really give a very authentic kind of profile or impression of the person. So I would stick with the facts. Obviously, you want to talk about the positive side of things, and don't underplay. The other extreme is you underplay what you did. Don't do that either, but give an honest assessment that would kind of represent what you've done.
And
Oh,
sir, means I conversed with an engineer. Uh, just I was gone with my friend at company that was Goldman. This is Chinese company working in Pakistan. So that was I talked with the engineer who was passed out from a university in Punjab. So he told me, "Have you learned MATLAB?" I told yes. This is going on when I was in second year. Oh, sorry, second semester. So he told me not that type of MATLAB, in advanced version. So what can be an advanced version of that MATLAB which is not taught by our in our university? So I just want between them. Means if someone saying be advanced in a particular thing, so what does he mean by?
Yeah, if somebody's talking about what skill sets that they have, you would post the skill set that you have, right? Like I whether it's if you've done MATLAB, for example, it's a very specific example. If you've done MATLAB and you don't know it advanced, but you're proficient in it, I mean, that's enough of what you should put, right? So hopefully that answers the question. But like, don't put more than what you know, and don't put underplay yourself or undersell yourself either.
No, sir. Means in MATLAB, the whole semester we have done, and if we have learned MATLAB, so our teachers used to say if you are making any graph, means for example, I have done MATLAB, and after it there is a IC internal combustion engine lab. So our teacher told says us draw a graph on MATLAB. So is it maximum usage of MATLAB? Uh, Means I just want to ask the what is the net output of any software. Means if they are telling us, means we have learned a beginner level. So if he told us advanced level, so what is that advanced level? My main question was that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I completely understand the question, to be
Adil,
honest.
do you want me to
Yes,
take this one?
Yeah, if you could, that would be great.
Yeah, so Nasir, I understand your point that you asked somebody, आपने किसी से पूछा कि यार मैंने नेट मैटलैब किया हुआ है, सही है, and उसने कहा कि तुमने बिगनर लेवल का किया हुआ है, तुमने एडवांस लेवल नहीं किया हुआ है. So in those particular scenarios, what you would actually want to do is you need to give them examples of what you actually can do with that software. सही है. A lot of students come out and say, oh, मैंने MATLAB कर लिया, ये रहा मेरा certificate. You don't tell what tangible benefit or what project you did on it. Any software, whichever you learn, be it AutoCAD, be it SolidWorks, be it MATLAB, be it any programming language, whatever, you need to define it through projects. वो आपकी capacities बताते हैं. अगर आपने Tableau किया हुआ है, आपने Power BI किया हुआ है, whatever you have done, you need to say projects. Just so that you can clarify that question further, क्योंकि unfortunately, पाकिस्तान के अंदर there are a lot of people वो ये समझते हैं कि अगर आपने second year में कोई चीज की है तो वो बहुत छोटी होगी. So you just need to make sure that whatever answer you are giving is a more tangible, more quantitative answer कि भाई मैंने MATLAB use किया था ये चीजें करने के लिए. ठीक है? So that would increase your credibility and acceptability. Hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you very much, Asad. Basically, now more questions we will take in the next session of the question and answers. So I would like to call or welcome Mr. Asad Rafiq. Please start your presentation with your short intro. Thank you very much.
सॉरी वो मैंने वो बंद कर दिया एग्जॉस्ट.
All right, I had some difficulties unmuting myself. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yes, sure.
And you can see my screen too. Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead. Professional connections. This is Asad Rafiq, October 13, 2024. थोड़ा बहुत मेरे बारे में नाम असद रफीक है. A lot of people know me by Asad Khwaja as well. So whatever works for me, whatever works for you. I'm a data center metro build program manager at Microsoft here in Virginia, USA. I did my master's in engineering management from Northeastern University in 2021. I did my bachelor's of engineering, mechanical engineering from NED University. I was in the batch 12-13. And I was on and about ASME's early career engineering programming committees, a member at large from 2017 to 2021. The barcode that you see, that is a link to my LinkedIn profile. I'll make sure that I put it in the last slide as well, so that if you guys want to connect, we can do that. And that is my picture. So if you're unable to see me right now, and you see this video or this presentation after, that is me. All right, professional connections. What are professional connections? So there's a group of individuals connected by professional relationships. And why do we do that? We do that for career advancement. We do that for knowledge sharing. We do that for support and mentorship, collaboration opportunities, personal branding, and a lot of more reasons. There is no one specified reason or one specified way of doing things. But ये एक आपकी समझने core hoti hain, why you make professional connections. Where do you make these professional connections? You can make them offline, that is in person. You go to industry events, you go to conferences, you go to alumni meetups. You can do, मतलब राह चलते भी आप किसी भी इंसान को professional connection बना सकते हैं. And I've done that. So yeah, I was walking down the road and I saw someone with a badge and I was like, oh, you work there. And वहाँ से हमारी connection शुरू हो गया. And then of course we met online as well. And then there is online. You got social media, you got LinkedIn, you got Twitter, you got Slack and Discord. And you've got a lot more platforms that you can use. However, these are the ones that we usually have. One important tad bit, more than 50% of jobs are filled through networking. And the reason I say that is because once you network with people, they know a lot more about you while talking to you at different instances, while picking your brain on different issues. So उनको पता चल जाता है कि how your brain actually thinks through. Uske baad, they probably would invite you for an interview or invite you for something where they could gauge you professionally, or you can say technically. So 50% of the jobs are actually filled through networking, and it's more than that. A few websites says 92%, which I did not agree with. Few websites said 70%, which I said, okay, that's fine. But a lot of websites also say that a lot of jobs, and I know that as well, a lot of jobs actually don't even make way to the job portals as well. Those are internally hired. People reach out to each other through their networks and just boom, you don't even know that that job actually came out. Now, We're going to focus more on LinkedIn because that is, you can say, a choice for everybody. It is more outside than any other platform that we have when it comes to professional connections. And I proudly say that Microsoft owns it. All right, there are about 950 million users worldwide. Previous presentation, you saw Adil Saab mention that as well, more than 900 million people over 200 countries. Then one important tidbit, 500 plus connections mean there is at least, or you can say approximately 70% more likely that you're going to get opportunities. So the bigger your group is, the bigger your connections are, there's a high chance that people are going to notice you. There's a high chance people are going to reach out to you. Now, those messages can be solicited and unsolicited as well. They can be professional, they can be unprofessional, but those connections can lead to opportunities, and this is a rough number that comes off of different websites. Now, the algorithm prioritizes active profiles with a larger network. So the bigger network you have, the algorithm is going to target things to you. जब भी आप कोई चीज सर्च करते हैं तो लिखा हुआ आता है first connection, second connection, third connection. That's all the algorithm that is working. And whatever we are doing with AI right now in different industries, LinkedIn is also one of those users. It is learning. It is learning on how people connect with each other. If I, Asad, am on LinkedIn and I reach out to 10 people in a week, what kind of 10 people am I reaching out to? And those are the people that they will show me to, or they will show me like people as well. Because LinkedIn now knows, or that software, the piece of software knows, what am I what would I do in the next week? Okay, so it is more generative, it is more predictive. Another thing, 87% of recruiters use LinkedIn for search for candidates. I believe this number was a bit lower or higher in the previous presentation, but we all agree that majority of the recruiters use LinkedIn for their candidates. They will scour through different sites, they will scour through different posts. If you do posts, they will scour through a lot of things to make sure that they find the right talent. All right, connection request is a work of art. It is a craft. The reason I say that is because that is your first touch point to somebody. जब आप किसी से बात करने जाते हैं तो आप पहली क्या चीज कहते हैं वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होती है. So what should it be? It should be unique. It should be for what you want. So yeah, it should be for who you are reaching out to. So it should be unique for every other person. It should be personal. It has to have a personal touch. Why do you want to do that? Then it should be clear. करना क्या है? Action items क्या है? A lot of people reach out and say, oh, can you give me a referral? No, you're not here to demand me anything because I don't know you. Right? If I don't know you, I'm not going to give you a referral. You have to reach out to me first to make sure that you build a rapport. Okay? And then the last thing, be polite, be compassionate, be respectful. And आप इस तरीके से देखें that a lot of us are humans. Not a lot, but everybody is a human, right? So we need to make sure that we are polite. All right. This is a good example. And then we'll go, why is it a good example? Hi, I came across your profile while researching professionals in data center management. I would love to connect and share ideas on how sustainability initiatives are shaping our industry, right? वो बंदे को नहीं जानता. ये बिल्कुल ही नया बंदा है जो किसी से कनेक्ट करना चाह रहा है जो कि data center side पर है. But they want to connect with them professionally. Now, what is so good about this? Unique. They took the time to research. Personal. Reference has a reference share किया कि इनके interest क्या है. Clear. What is the connection request for? And then polite. The tone is professional and respectful. That is what you need to make sure that is in your message. It should not be long. Don't write an essay. Nobody has time to read. I receive approximately 10 or 12 messages every single day from new connections. Every single day. I don't have time to read every single one of them. But I accept one of those who actually have a very concise message and they know what they're looking for. Now, the art and craft of writing a request, we'll have a few more examples. Okay. Hi, I noticed we share an interest in this specific field, for example, renewable energy. I've been working on a project related to this topic, and I'd love to connect to share insights and learn from your experience. Again, it was personal, it was unique, it was respectful, and again, it was clear. Chahiye kya, right? What are you looking for? Then again, I came across your profile and was really impressed by your work on this specific role or project. I'm currently exploring similar areas and would love to connect and learn from your experiences. This would actually be something that all of you or most of you would use. Why? Because abhi aap jis phase ke andar hai apne career ke andar, probably in your school life, you are trying to test things out. You are trying to understand things. And this is a good way to ask for an informational interview. Yaar, mujhe na is baare mein janna hai. Can you please help me out with that? And be respectful again. You cannot make any demands. Again, We are both connected to a mutual connection, and I've heard great things about your work in the industry. I'd be excited to connect and possibly explore collaboration opportunities. This would come off of अगर यूनिवर्सिटी में कोई जॉब फेयर होता है या यूनिवर्सिटी के अंदर कोई सेशन लेने के लिए आता है, you can reach out to them saying, हाँ हम इस तरीके से मिले थे, right? Remind them that you met with them and they had an impact on you, okay? And that is the reason why you want to connect. And then last one, as a fellow university alum, I'm excited to connect with you. I've been following your career in this field and love to exchange ideas and experiences. This is again something that you can use. Why? Because what makes us together is because we are alums of an university, right? You can connect to me saying, oh, you were in batch this and that. I believe that I was there in the presentation that you were doing, right? Or you are an alum, I'm looking at this profile of yours and I believe that this is something I want to do. Would there be some good time to meet and reach out to you and whatever you want to do, okay? Be personal, be clear as much as you can. Now, not a good art, a generic request. I'd like to add you to my professional network on LinkedIn. No, a lot of people will accept it, but a lot of people are not going to respond back to it. Uske baad, you will be the one saying, thank you for accepting my request, and then uske baad bhi kuch nahi hone wala. Next, the immediate ask. Hi, I see you work at a company. Can you refer me for a job there? Again, I don't know you. Why would I refer you, right? Referrals are very personal. Referrals talk about that you as a person see the other person somewhat equivalent to the culture of the company, that you're going to adhere to it, that you're going to be a great fit for the company. So I don't know you. I cannot do that for you, right? An overly salesy pitch that, hi, I help businesses like yours increase revenue by 50%. Let's schedule a meeting to talk so I can tell you more. No, don't sell. Don't start selling. First, make a connection and then start selling. A general rule, focus on personalization and adding value, not just making demands or being generic, okay? You need to be personal. You need to add value. Now, the compulsories and the forbiddens, also known as the do's and don'ts. The heck yes, we're going to talk those first. Be selective. Know the who, what, and why. Kisko reach out kar rahe ho? Kya chahate ho? Aur kyun reach out kar rahe ho? The second, personalize. Make sure that you add some tad bits, what you really want to do or how you want to do it. Be clear. End result kya chahiye? Us message ko pahunchne tak, uska key message kya hai? You need to make sure that you're clear there. Engage after connecting. Once you have connected and that person has responded back to it, make sure that you follow them more. If they are posting something, respond to that post. Reach out, check. If they have any changes in their lives, if they're sharing over LinkedIn, respond to that as well. Like those posts, add some comment there, but make sure that you are not being a stalker, okay? Stalker बनने में और किसी को follow करने में, उसे engage करने में बहुत बड़ा difference होता है. हर 2 मिनट बाद message नहीं करने का होता है, okay? Give them time. Keep your profile updated. If your profile is not updated, I don't know what you're doing. I've seen a lot of students who just create a profile. They have a picture there, जो किसी शादी में खिंचवाते हैं, and then eventually what they really do is the profile is just marinating. There's nothing else there. It just says student at Indian University or whatever it says. That's it. So you need to keep your profile updated. Build a foundation. Make sure that when you're talking to someone, foundation बनती रहे. पहले उससे बात करो, पहले उससे understand करो, पहले उससे बताओ तुम क्या चाहते हो, so that you have a connection that can be used professionally and personally. Again, professional connections are also personal connections. Until and unless you don't make that personal connection with them, they will not be able to help you out professionally too. Know the person. That is one of the important things. In the US, if you reach out to somebody, I personally would not call them Mr. or Sir, because a lot of people don't like that. So I would see the profiles on how people are interacting with their own posts. If they call them by name, call them by name. Hi, Mr. Jonathan. Hi, Mr. Sohail, whatever it is. If you are in Pakistan, however, यहाँ की society थोड़ी different है. So probably start with salam if you want to. Probably start with sir if you want to. Again, it's not recommended that you do what I'm saying because there's no one recipe for success. But these are the things, the cultural aspects that you also need to take care of. The nays. Don't spam. Don't text. Don't give them a video call. Don't spam their messages. Not everyone. You see people, hit connect. Don't do that. If you do that, the LinkedIn algorithm would not know who to present to you, who you are actually looking for. So don't do that. I am important? No, you're not important. Okay. You need to make sure that you have some kind of humility. You need to have some kind of compassion in yourself. You are not important. You are there to take something. You are there to receive something. So you are not important. that other person is important. Make them feel important. Okay, build that bridge rather than saying, oh, I am at a high pedestal and I'm going to do this and that. Okay, be respectful. Don't sell. You're not here to sell anything, so don't sell. Now, the key takeaways from this presentation before we jump on towards the questions: building a strong professional network is key to long-term career success. And the reason for that is that right now, when you start your careers, a lot of people will be following you because a lot of organizations are actually looking for great talent, right? So it's going to help you a lot. And then in the mid part of a career, maybe this professional network is going to help you jump over. And if you're looking for becoming part of the C-suite, the CEO, the CTOs, the CFOs, the COOs, this helps a lot because if you're connected with other CEOs and COOs, in the later part of your career, those are the people that are going to help you go into that C-suite if you want to. Next, LinkedIn offers the ideal platform to connect with like-minded professionals, mentors, and recruiters. I would say one thing. LinkedIn right now, as of now, is the biggest. We are not selling LinkedIn, as I see in a comment. We are not selling LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not sponsoring this in any way. But LinkedIn right now is the reality, right? It is the reality. There is no LinkedIn-like platform that has this much of a reach. So you have to accept a few facts. So let's make sure that we accept those facts and play with our strengths and play in that platform to be successful. Okay, so you will meet a lot of people, mentors, professionals, and recruiters. And the most important thing, start small, but be strategic in your approach. Focus on meaningful, mutually beneficial connections. Start small. Write a small message to get connected. Followed by, once they respond, ask questions, ask probing questions, but start with how are you as well, okay? People love when they think about them as people rather than tools for their professional growth, okay? So these were the three key takeaways that I think from here. The first thank I would make is to Copilot. I use Copilot every day. That is like ChatGPT, whatever you call it, but I use Copilot every day. If you have a subscription, very good. If you don't, just try it out. I write my emails, I write my messages, I write my posts, I vet it through them, I do everything through Copilot. Even half of my presentation was vetted by Copilot too. So use these tools. These tools are important. Just because you don't think that people are not going to be appreciative of that, don't think about that. Use Copilot. It makes you stand out. Thank you all for listening today. And here is the QR code that would help you out in reaching out to me. And then we're going to jump on to question and answers. All right, throw it now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Asad. Very great presentation, very informative. First of all, I want to ask two questions first, because in the chat box here, Hassan and Kareem, they asked that, is there any internships can hunt with this LinkedIn? And the other question is that, is there any free courses we can get with the help of LinkedIn profile? So please quickly answer these questions. Thank you very much.
So about internships, internships are on LinkedIn. So if you go to the job board, as Adil said in the earlier part of his presentation, there is a job board. In the job board, you can actually go in and select, you can go into the filter and write internships. So वहाँ पे आप internships कर सकते हैं. The sad part, which I believe is very sad for people living in Pakistan or students in Pakistan, is that a lot of companies actually do not post their internships over LinkedIn, right? So Pakistan के अंदर हमारा जो dynamic है, professional dynamic, it's very different. There are a lot of companies that are not proper registered companies or go through proper HR jargons or HR platforms. So all the multinationals, all of those companies would have posts over LinkedIn. जिसके अंदर लिखा होगा, this is an internship, or if you go to the filter and click internship in your area, you will find a lot of those. But वो वही वाली बात है कि that you have to reach out to your personal connections and professional connections for internship opportunities, especially the DIL and NED. That is going to help you out because, again, if you are looking for internship in the US, you are going to get a bunch of them here. You're going to get a bunch of them on LinkedIn. You're going to get a bunch of them on Indeed as well. But Pakistan में थोड़ा सा different है, इसलिए you have to reach out to both. But you will eventually find a LinkedIn post that says internship. However, read it thoroughly. बहुत सारी LinkedIn post के अंदर लिखा होता है that this is an internship का request. However, वो कहते हैं do not apply through LinkedIn. Do not use easy apply. Apply through this link. So read the whole post. If there is another requirement for you to apply, go through that link so that you can apply. I hope that answers the question. The second question was free courses over LinkedIn. There are a few free courses over LinkedIn that you can access. But what I personally have started seeing, the trend that is going on आजकल, वो यही है कि just present your projects. If you are learning something through a free platform like YouTube or somebody else, if you have projects, just add those links to those projects, just so that there is no certificate, but there is an evidence that you know this stuff, you know the shit. Okay, that is important. So free courses are available on LinkedIn. However, जो आप highly skilled एडवांस्ड एक्सेल के अगर आप ढूंढ रहे हैं, एडवांस्ड को पायलट के ढूंढ रहे हैं, तो प्रॉब्ली वो आपको पैसों में मिलेंगे. लेकिन अगर आप कहीं यूट्यूब पे सीख लेते हैं किसी XYZ बंदे से एंड वो आपको अच्छा लगता है, गो अहेड एंड डू दैट एंड डू अ प्रोजेक्ट ऑन द साइड सो दैट यू कैन अपलोड दैट प्रोजेक्ट. दैट वुड हेल्प यू अ बिट मोर.
Great. So anyone ask question? Yes. Yes, please. Asya, Suhail, Nabil, Mustafa.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
Yes.
जी जी सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था, व्हाट टाइप्स ऑफ स्ट्रेटजीज कैन हेल्प ब्रिज द गैप बिटवीन theoretical knowledge gained through education and practical application in professional life?
Strategies. The biggest strategy that you can actually follow is whatever you learn, put it on paper, put it on a project. सही है. मुझे याद है मैं मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर हूँ, अभी भी मैं माइक्रोसॉफ्ट में मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग का ही काम करता हूँ. ठीक है. However, मैंने 1-2 प्रोग्रामिंग के कोर्सेज लिए थे फॉर डेटा विजुअलाइजेशन जब मैं मास्टर्स में था. तो मैंने आर प्रोग्रामिंग सीखी थी एज वेल एज आई लर्नड हाउ टू यूज टैब्लो एंड पावर BI. अब लिखने को तो बंदा बहुत कुछ लिख सकता है, बट हाउ विल समबडी नो आई हैव डन दैट, राइट? मेरे पास एक लर्निंग अवेलेबल थी, एक थियोरेटिकल नॉलेज थी, बट वो प्रैक्टिकल नॉलेज में कन्वर्ट कैसे करूं? मैंने देखा यार, मैंने उस वक्त यूएस इलेक्शंस चल रहे हैं. सही है. सो व्हाट आई रियली डिड वाज आई डाउनलोडेड द डेटा, और इंटरनेट पे डेटा बहुत अवेलेबल है. मुझे वो वेबसाइट याद नहीं है बिकॉज़ काफी टाइम हो गया. आई ट्राई टू फाइंड दैट वेबसाइट एंड शेयर इट ऑन माय प्रेजेंटेशन एज वेल एज पार्ट ऑफ द Q&A स्लाइड. मैंने डेटा डाउनलोड किया एंड आई स्टार्टेड प्लेइंग अराउंड विद दैट डेटा ऑन टैबलो टू बिल्ड आउट विजुअलाइजेशन चार्ट्स. उसके बाद मैंने वो विजुअलाइजेशन चार्ट का जो पूरा लिंक था ना, वो मैंने अपने लिंक्डइन पे डाल दिया उस टाइम पे, just so that if somebody is going to my LinkedIn profile and if they read, this guy is a mechanical engineer, however he says that he knows Power BI and Tableau, नीचे देखे कि वहां पे एक लिंक है कि मैं देखूं तो सही इसने क्या तीर मारा, राइट? सो यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट फैक्ट एज वेल एज ट्राई टू मेक श्योर कि आपने जो तीर मारे हुए वो लोगों को दिखें. अगेन, डोंट अस्यूम दैट पीपल विल नो दैट व्हेन यू आर राइटिंग कि तुम्हें पता है. डोंट अस्यूम, राइट? मेक श्योर दैट you tell them what you've done, and the best way of telling them is showing what you've actually done. I hope that makes sense, Nabil.
Let me, if you don't mind, I just want to add to that. That's a really good point, Asad. The one thing I'll say is, you know, there's this, I've seen this happen quite a bit where people become, I call them professional students, where they're constantly learning, but they're not actually applying anything. They're not showing there. So they'll have like a 50 certificates. They have many study courses, but they have nothing to show for it. So I would actually lean towards whatever you learn, to your point, Asad, apply it and showcase it, because on the interviews, they're not going to ask you what you learned. They're going to ask you what you did. So just kind of remember that, lean towards, after you learn something, make sure you apply it.
And that's a very good segue, Adil bhai. I think मेरा जो interview Microsoft में हुआ था, in that interview, basically I was asked about what is the project that is very close to my heart. Why is it, right? Nobody asked me, अच्छा gear कौन सा होता है, ये क्या होता है, वो क्या होता है. They were like, what project is the closest to your heart? And I talked about a project that I did at NED, which was NED Formula Racing. And I talked about it. Like 15 minutes, I was just talking about it. So projects will give you good good information, or not even information, I'm looking for the word. It's going to give you good material for you to use in your interviews as well.
It gives you some credibility as to what,
absolutely,
you know, what you've learned.
Great. So next is Asya, Suhail, and Bushra Aslam. Please ask question.
Yes, sir. So my question is, what are the steps to approach to your dream company? Should we start with approaching small companies and then like approach big companies, or should we just like approach to the big companies if we think we are confident enough and our problem solving skills are really that good?
That is a very interesting question, and the only answer I can give to you is, are you playing a real life, or are you playing SimCity, or are you playing GTA 5? If you are playing a game, then you have 3 lives. If you are in real life, you have a lot of lives. So you can start working on it day one. You want to go apply for Microsoft, go ahead. Like there is no recipe for success. There is no recipe for success. There will be no time where you will be saying, okay, I am ready for it, and you will get it. No, you have to take your steps and you apply everywhere. there is no saying कि मैं पहले 5 छोटी कंपनी में अप्लाई करूंगा ताकि मैं एक मिड कंपनी में अप्लाई कर सकूं, फिर मैं 5 मिड कंपनीज में अप्लाई करूंगा तो मैं बड़ी कंपनी में जा सकूंगा. This is what my career looked like. I started with Gandhara Industries. I worked there for 2 months, building Isuzu trucks. I moved to Hubco, designing power plants, the third power plants. I was there for 2.5 years. I moved to the US for my master's degree. I did an internship in Hasbro, which is a toy manufacturing company, right? And then I got an offer from a social media platform for an internship, which I rejected. Why? Because I was doing an internship somewhere else. It was very difficult for me to do that, right? Uske fauran baad, I received a call from Microsoft. I was applying everywhere, but I was making sure that I was unique. So whenever I used to apply in any company, I would go to the job description. I would generate a word cloud from that job description, seeing what are the keywords that they're using. Then I would go to my Word, I would go to my resume. That should be a one-pager resume. And I would make sure that my resume is way relevant to that job experience that they're requesting for. Why? Because I'm not sure how many of you have heard it, but ATS is a real thing. Applicant tracking systems is a real thing. And the advent of AI in these applicant tracking systems is a way realer thing. Your resume is not going to pop up to a recruiter. I was recruiting for a role at Microsoft. Within 6 hours of posting that role, I had 300 applications. What do you think would have happened after 15 days of that job opening? So we heavily rely on AI tools to provide us with what resumes we should actually look for. So there is no recipe. There is nothing else. Pehle chote mein apply karo, bade mein apply karo. If you think you're ready, if you think that you can mold your resume to that job experience and you can do that job, apply right away. You don't need to wait. A lot of people who graduate from universities go directly into these big companies. I know a lot of people jinki pehli job bhi Microsoft, Google, Apple, or inside. So you don't need to worry about that. Whenever you think you're ready, whenever you think that job description based resume is ready, go ahead and do that.
That's Asad, that's exactly what my career has been. I've only worked for large companies. I've had worked for 3 companies my entire 24 years I've been doing this. First company was 25,000 people. Second company was 80,000 people. Now the company I work for is 300,000 people, right? So it to your point is spot on. You should be confident in your own abilities, small or large, right? Every company has their requirements and they're looking for the right people. Just because it's a big company doesn't make it any, I would say, any more difficult or easier. It's just focus on your skill sets and your projects and having a compelling profile that any hiring manager would be interested in.
Good.
Thank you so much. It really helped me.
Thank you. Now, Bushra Aslam, please ask the question.
Yeah. So, sir, I was asking, is there any concrete superiority of LinkedIn Premium while during the hiring process? Because a lot of people say about this. So, I just wanna ask from you, is there any concrete superiority of it?
As much as I would love my business to grow, because LinkedIn is Microsoft subsidiary, I personally don't believe it makes any difference. The only difference that it does is that you are open to a lot more professional connections than anybody else. So that is one good part of it, that your profile might, if it is a good profile, it would go up in a lot of things. However, I personally have not had any success in having LinkedIn Premium. And if you connect with me, I don't have a LinkedIn Premium account. So it depends on people to people. If people have had success, they would say that. There is a lot of data that actually proves that LinkedIn Premium helps. But I personally have had not that success. And whatever success, alhamdulillah, I've had has been through direct channels and not through these professional jargons or anything there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, less
Adil,
than,
if you want to put that.
yeah, less than 10, I think it's less than 10%. I was just looking it up. Less than 10% of the people on the platform have LinkedIn Premium, right? So there's probably some benefits, but I've never had it either. So and I don't think I know anybody who actually has it.
Yeah.
It is also quite expensive, so that's another deterrent.
Okay, so next one, Daniel Ali. Yes, Daniel.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum. Can you hear me?
Walaikum salam.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you
Yes,
can.
yes.
Actually, I want to ask that there are many professionals, international professionals from different countries reach out on LinkedIn with legitimate profiles with the job offers, but they don't follow up usually. I'm pretty confused about that.
So that happens. Uh, that is a hard reality. That is a sad truth that the industry is like this. There are a lot of consultant companies who hire for different roles, and they don't follow up. So um, we cannot do much. The only thing that I recommend people doing that they did not have not had any response from any company that they were looking out to get into, and they've been interview, they had a discussion. I just say after a week or so, just send a cold message. Just tell them, hey, how are you doing? I just wanted to ask you if you have any updates on the interview that we had. Right. The only thing is that you can do that. Rather than that, if they've moved on, then you move on as well. If they've forgotten about you, probably that's not the right fit, because if they forget about you and do not provide you with constructive feedback, then probably that company is not for you. Move on. Nothing else can be done. You cannot go and say, "अगर मैं इसके गिरबान पकड़ उसने मुझे reply के लिए किया था." You cannot do that. So move on. That's the only thing I would say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, okay. So next, Hafiz Muhammad Bilal. Yes, Muhammad Bilal.
Yes, sir. I want to ask that can I share my university projects and industrial visits, which is related to my university course, on my LinkedIn profile? Is it professional or not?
It is, but how you make that? How do you do that? If you write on your LinkedIn profile saying, I had an industrial visit with the XYZ group, and you leave it up to that, then probably it's not a good idea. It's just like what you're doing on Facebook, going to this valley with 15 others. You don't want that, right? You want to write something that you've learned. So for example, if you went for an industrial trip to an automobile plant, right? You would have to write about that. So I got an opportunity um, to go and visit XYZ automobile plant, which is located here. During my visit, I found that they have this technology which does this. I believe that their sustainability goals, whatever works for you. But you have to write something constructive. You have to write something that explains that you actually got something from there. If you haven't got anything, I'd rather say just don't write it, because again, it's going to be a waste of that critical space. Again, just like your resume, people are going to look at your LinkedIn profile in a quick 5 or 7 seconds. They're going to scroll down your education, your experiences, and they're not going to do anything else. If we have all of these fillers in between, they'll be like, a lot of bullshit is out there. We are going to go to someone else. We are not going to read this. About your projects, you have to do it. But then again, you have to follow the right way to do it. You need to write about your project. You have to say, okay, XYZ project, this is the problem that we were solving. This is what I did, not this is what we did. This is what I did. This is what my role was. This is what tools that I used to achieve the goal that we have. Again, writing created a formula for whatever, and leaving it to that doesn't make sense. Don't write it.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
No problem. I
Mumtaz,
think
you're talking, but we can't hear you.
you're on mute, sir.
No, we can't.
Okay, so let me take it from here. I think Hafiz, you have done your part. Rahmatullah, if you have the question. Go ahead, Rahmatullah.
Sorry, yeah, Rahmatullah, yes. I think, yes, sir. So thank you very much, Asad, and Mr. Adil, for your great time, because you are very busy persons, and for the students, you did this job. Uh, in the last, once more time, if Rahmatullah, if you have questions, so please ask. Yes.
So Mumtaz Sahab, I think we cannot hear Rahmatullah, but there are a few
Okay.
questions in the chat. Do you want me to just go through them first?
Rahmatullah, no, the chat, not. Okay,
There is a
so
good
yes,
there is actually a good question on the chat, which is how can I effectively showcase my portfolio or projects?
yes,
That is
please.
an important one. I would like to address this one. So there are a
Yes,
lot of platforms available for you to use.
yes,
You can directly post in over at LinkedIn. However, I would suggest create your student portfolio over Google's. There is a Google Doc, or I believe it says you make your personal site. It's free. Just go to Google and write "make my personal site," and it's going to take you there. Make your own personal sites. Add your projects there so that you can provide the details with all the links and everything, and provide that link either in your bio or in your project section so that it's easier for people to just go on to your professional portfolio. So that's going to be important.
good. Okay, so Adil, Asad, basically you should share your LinkedIn profile connection for the students, and I think, or you can share me. I will share with the students. Or in the last, I think it's enough. Too much question answers. Very good session and very informative. So, Mr. Asad and Mr. Adil, once again, I am very thankful to you to share your time with our students. And I am also thankful to you on behalf of the NAD University platform. Thank you very much. Very great session. Khuda Hafiz. Allah Hafiz. Bye bye.
Thank you.